Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of...
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode.
Hold on. What did I do? Is everybody okay? Sorry about that. Had a window open. Definitely didn't have it muted. Let's try that again. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Learn with Jason. Today on the show, we're bringing back Thor. Thor, how you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me back.
If you've been watching the show for a while, you've seen Thor a few times. We have been doing all sorts of fun content around Stripe and the Jamstack. We have built a products page. We have built donation pages. We've set up the ability to do shopping carts and Apple Pay and Google Pay, and all of that's being handled on the Jamstack, which is really fun. We use some serverless functions. We use Stripe to manage the payment details and security, and that leaves us with the ability to very easily stand up something that will take money for us without having to do a bunch of servers, without having to do a bunch of security. So today, we're going to do what I think is probably the most ambitious thing we've tried so far, which is we're going to set up a full-on subscription app with multiple subscription tiers, starting with free, going to like a basic plan and a pro plan. And we're going to control access using Netlify identity and functions. So today we're going to put together subscription payment management. We're going to put together user login and authentication. We're going to put in access control. It's all coming together. Okay, so before we get started, Thor, do you want to give us a quick intro to who you are, what you do, all that good stuff?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Thor. I'm a developer advocate at Stripe, and lately I've been mainly hanging out with Jason and doing fun Jamstack stuff. Yeah.
I think you might be the person I've spent the most time with since quarantine started.
And we have yet to meet in person.
I know.
I think it will be.
As soon as I can travel again, I'm coming straight to Singapore. I want to eat.
Yes.
Okay. So one note for the chat, if you have not been with us since yesterday, we now have support for live captioning. So go check out lwj.dev/live to get live captioning, lwj.dev/live. Let me post that in the chat. I need a command for it. Thanks, Ben, for beating me to the punch. Chat says, what about Marissa? That's true, Marissa. But Marissa doesn't count. She's my partner, right? Go there. We've got white coat captioning. Amanda's helping us out today. It is amazing that they're able to be here. That is something that it's a premium service, and that's being made possible by Netlify Fauna, and that almost covers the bill. So the rest of it's coming out of my pocket. If you are a company that wants to sponsor a stream, please let me know, because I would love to get this bill completely covered. Z Schnackle, we will be using Fauna today. We're going to use Fauna to store our subscription details, and I think we're also going to use to store our content. Because we're going to make requests for privileged content, and we're going to check that someone has the appropriate subscription level before we return that content. That's how we're going to protect it. Thor, is there anything that you want to talk about in the abstract before we flip over to Codeland?
No, I think this is really exciting. I called it. We're assembling the Avengers of Jamstack. So that's kind of how I like to think about today's episode.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so you're clearly Thor. I'm I don't know, the bald one.
I meant more kind of Gatsby, Fauna.
Oh,
Netlify,
I understand. Okay, I thought you were.
Stripe.
I thought you were talking about us.
We're like the techie guys in the background that make the dream happen.
Yeah, what's there's I forget what her name is in the Avengers series, but it's like Robin from How I Met Your Mother.
Exactly.
That's me. I'm like in the background pulling all the strings, making things work. Okay, so let's maybe switch over, and I'll walk away from this terrible metaphor, and we'll start building some actual code. All right, so let me pull up a browser here, and we're gonna head over this way. Okay, whoops, get off there. Here we go.
And
all right, so I have
chat is asking if the captions are going to be saved, and I think yes, they're going to be on YouTube later as well, right?
Yes, so I've got support on the Learn with JSON site for saving transcripts. That before now I haven't been able to get them set up, but now they will be actually stored along with the episodes on learnwithjson.dev. I'm also going to try to figure out how to turn those captions into actual closed captions. The goal is, I think you can feed them into Twitch and they become closed captions like through the video player. And if you can do that, then you can also get them into YouTube. So I believe like the goal here at the end is that the captions will be available everywhere. Thor and Jarvis. I'll be Jarvis. Jarvis is dope. Okay, so I have an empty browser. I have an empty terminal. I'm ready to go. Where would you like to start?
Yes, I think let's start by just setting up a completely fresh Gatsby project.
Okay,
and maybe we can just use the Gatsby starter.
Maybe let's do the hell. Let's go from an empty folder, because I feel like the Gatsby starter adds a few things that I don't want to have to deal with today. So let's just make a new directory, and we will call this, not my name, Jamstack subscriptions. It's early for me. We're gonna see how well I can type at 8 o'clock in the morning. So we'll call this Jamstack subscriptions. I'm going to yarn and knit y because I like the way it does a package JSON better. Then I'm going to npm install Gatsby, React, and React DOM. That's all you need for a Gatsby site. And then I will open this up once we finish installing. Ooh, translated to Spanish. That is very interesting. I don't know how I would, yeah, that would be dope. I have no idea how to actually do that, but that's a wonderful idea. Maria Hill, yes, that's her name. Come on, Pooper. So, what's up, chat? How you doing? What are you gonna build with the Jamstack once you are able to do subscriptions? Like what? Sia, there's not a link yet. This time we're working just off screen. If you wanted to see the captions are at lwj.dev/live. So we've got this. Oh wait, let me use this one instead. So let's open up a terminal. And so all we have right now is a package JSON. It's got Gatsby, React, and React DOM in it, and our node module. So that's it. So I'm going to create a Gatsby site, and we're going to create source pages index.js. I'm going to import React from React, and we're going to do a home page. We'll call it index, and that is going to be, for now, to do build a website. We'll export that as our default. And then we can just start this thing. Let's see what happens if I run netlify dev. I hope you work. Let's see. Oh, it didn't pick up Gatsby, so I have to tell it netlify.toml, and then it didn't pick up Gatsby because we don't have a Gatsby config. So I'm just going to create a Gatsby config.js, and we will have that module.exports, and it's going to just export nothing for now. So now if I run netlify.dev, it should pick up Gatsby. Missing script Gatsby. Okay, whatever. We're going to do it this way. We'll go build. And And then we're going to set the command to be npm run build, because that's what we're going to run. We're going to set our publish directory to be public, because that's where Gatsby publishes things. And then we're going to end up building functions. So let's just specify now that that's going to live in a functions folder. Then, because we need a actual build command, let's add some scripts. So we're going to have a build script, which will be Gatsby build, and then we'll have a develop script, which will be Gatsby develop. All right, try that one more time. There we go. And now we have a website. Aha! All right, let me make that a little bit bigger so we can see. And that's it. That's a whole Gatsby website, right? We can do anything we want in here now. We've got a pages directory. This index.js is a plain React component. Because it's in the pages directory, it gets treated like a page. So the other thing that's nice is this is running off of Netlify's dev, which means that if we need to add environment variables, we can do that through the Netlify UI. We'll have to like put it on Git and set up the Netlify site to do that. But you know, we're in a position now where we're basically able to run this as a production project. It's really nice. So Thor, what should I do next?
Oh yeah, let's actually add a sign up page, and I think we want to use Netlify identity to actually allow folks to sign up.
Yeah, so I feel like there are a couple ways that we can do this. One of the ways that I was thinking of doing it is basically to limit the number of pages. Maybe our sign up page is our home page.
Okay.
And then we'll just have like one page for our first level subscription and one page for our second level subscription. Does that seem okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we have, let's just turn this into a fragment so that we can do a bunch of stuff in here. And let's say we're going to have a sign up for premium Corgi content. Okay, and then we'll say something like, get your subscription today to access the goodest corgos on the internet. Okay. Then we need to do some Netlify identity stuff. So let's go look at that. And there is a Netlify React identity widget that Swix made. And I think, let's see, let's use the widget. We'll use the full kind of drag and drop thing. So to take a look at what this means, it is, where's he good? Here's a demo. So this will give us the ability to log in or sign up, and we will just use the plain sign up of name, email. We won't use the extra sign in stuff today. But so let's get this, and then also Swix is looking for maintainers. So if anybody's looking to get into open source, this could be a good project to take on. Let's get this widget. So I'm going to add React Netlify identity widget, and then we need some stuff from Reach UI, which Reach is what is under the hood for Gatsby for the router. So this is nice and compatible. So let's npm install all those goodies. And let's read about how we're going to implement it while it installs. So I need an identity modal. We need to use the identity context, and then we need a context provider. And that's going to come in from the identity widget. We're going to pull in the styles, and then we'll pull in some reach styles. Okay, so rather than making me type all of that out, let's just bring that straight in. So we've got our identity modal context provider. And I feel like we might need to put this part outside of the Gatsby page system, that's okay. So let's, how do we want to do this? I want to wrap the root component. So let's add Gatsby SSR here. And then we're going to export const wrap root element. And this is going to send in element, I believe. And then we can just return the identity context provider around our whole app. So if we import that, identity context provider from React Netlify identity widget, yes, then we can do identity context provider around the element. Okay, so that should work. We'll see how good my memory is. I haven't done this in a while. And then I'm going to get Gatsby browser, and we're going to do the same thing. But the bonus is we can actually just we can just export wrap root element from Gatsby SSR. Because it's the same function. We just want to make sure that it gets done. So now we're managing it in like one place, but we should get what we need there. So we don't need this anymore. But in our auth view, we're going to get, let's see. We need to get identity. So let's just do this. Identity equals use identity context. And then dialog, set dialog. Oh yeah, okay. So this is going to come the whole like JSON web token that we get back from Netlify identity. So when you have a JSON web token, we're going to get into this a little bit more later, but you're going to get a user object, and in that your token will have user metadata and app metadata. User metadata is something that I can update as a user. I can say like, I want my username to be this or my email to be this. App metadata is set by the app and can't be controlled by the user. So that would be something like a role. Like in our case, we're going to set roles of what tier you're subscribed to, and that'll control access to different parts of our app. So let's just dump what we get here. So I'm going to say if identity and identity is logged in. So say identity and identity dot logged in, right? Is logged in. Then let's just dump, I think, the whole thing.
Jason, while you do this, I think I'm having some connectivity issues on my end, which is surprising, but I'm just going to quickly pop out and see if I can get it fixed.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
See you in a sec.
Switch over to here for a second while we do that so that we don't have weird broken bits. So let's get... Oh yeah, so MT Leendo, the context provider, the reason that I'm putting the context provider in Gatsby SSR and not in a layout is that when Gatsby switches pages, it will reload the layout. For a context provider like identity, we don't want that to reload. We want that to be managed by like at a global level. And so we put it outside the pages, which means that Gatsby won't actually reload it between navigation. And so what we are going to do is actually turn it into like a wrapper around the whole app that never unloads. Thor, are you back?
Oh, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, let's switch back here then. All right. So we've got our identity, and if identity is logged in, I'm going to just dump the whole object. So we'll show identity, and then we'll just format that a little bit so that it looks nice. Let's then add. Let's see. We have all of this. So yeah, there is a way to do this with no framework dependency. We wanted to use Gatsby today because Gatsby is such a popular way to build Jamstack apps, and it's got a lot of things around routing and stuff. I think we will most likely end up following this up with a framework agnostic version, so that you can see how this would work on any front end that's Jamstack friendly. So I've got this dumped. What I need to add though is I need to add a login button. And our identity modal is going to be down here. So I think I'm just going to pull this straight over and drop it right here. And then we need to decide whether or not I might just, no, we don't want that. We want to make sure that the identity is, or that the dialog is only shown when we need it. So let's grab in useState false, and we'll pull in useState. Okay. And then down here, we'll say, like, let's see, not dialog. Then we'll show, I don't know, like button on click equals set dialog true. I think we can just leave that like this. What didn't work? This here. No, here. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what happens if we run this. I feel like I didn't get everything, but we're going for minimum. I think the example that we saw had a lot of stuff. It was showing names and those sorts of things. So we don't necessarily want to do that. We just want to make sure that this is on, right? Like we're doing a mic tap right now. Is this thing on? It is not on. Unexpected token. So I broke a thing. Unexpected use of name. React must be in scope when using json. Oh, yep, that would make sense. So in here, I need to also import React from React. Okay, so that was thing one. What else did I miss? Unexpected use of name in the index file on line 29. Here's 29. Okay, we don't have that, so let's just leave the name out. And we'll just do something like this. Actually, do we get a user? Because that would be cool. Let's do that. So we will that reload. Okay, we got closer. Something else happened. Invalid Netlify instance URL, undefined. Okay, so for Netlify identity to work, we need to have Netlify identity enabled for our site. So what I'm going to do is let's touch get ignore so that we can edit it. And I'm going to ignore node modules. I'm going to ignore public. I'm going to ignore cache. And I think that's everything that I need to ignore. So let's get init. And then we can, let's see, we've got the get ignore, Gatsby browser, Gatsby config, SSR, our Netlify toml, and our source page. That's everything. So let's add it all. Okay, nothing's going up that we don't want. So let's commit and say, we'll call this a work in progress because it's definitely broken. Okay. Then I'm going to create a repo. This is using the hub CLI. Okay. Now that I have that, I'm going to git push, set my origin to master. And then we will netlify init. I want to create and configure a new site. We're going to put it on my team. We're going to call this Jamstack subscriptions. We're going to use npm run build. We'll set the output folder to public. Okay, so that build is going to fail, but what it is going to let us do is it's going to let us enable Netlify identity. So I'm going to jump into the dashboard, go to identity, and click enable. And now it should just work. So let's grab this. Okay. And then I'm going to go back into our code. And I believe, where did he set the URL? It was in context. Identity context provider was here. So let's go set that in our SSR. And we'll have to fix that later, but for now, this should be okay. And I'm going to run netlify dev. And we'll see if that lets us get further. What's up, Henri? Objects are not valid as React child, so I missed a piece. In which step? Identity context provider. Okay, let me look up Gatsby SSR or wrap root element because I missed the syntax, I think. Wrap root element. That is going to be, it's destructured. So that's what I did wrong. So if we go back here, we just need to destructure that out. And now, nothing up my sleeve. Hey, look at that. So we have a setup. It looks like I have already run a Netlify identity instance at this local URL, so I'm already logged in. Hooray! But so this is what the object looks like. We have a user that comes back. We have our endpoint token, or our endpoint in general for Netlify identity. So this is the name of our site that we just created, and then we proxy in all the APIs at .netlify/identity. We get back an access token, and if I take this access token over to jwt.io, then we can drop it in here, and we can see that it sends in app metadata that we can't change. I signed up by email, and then we get user metadata, and it shows us our full name and the sign up source. So all good stuff. We have user login. And then we get a couple other things here, like are they confirmed, logged in, auth fetch, all that good stuff. So good, we're in good shape. So then if I click this button, I can log out. And now if I reload, I'm not there. So then I can log in. I think it's, see if I remember the one that I used. That's not it. I might just need to sign up again. Let's just sign up. And we'll say oh crap, what's the error? Blocked by cores. Do I need to add? External providers. I've done this before.
Oh, you have to set like a whitelist of domains?
I can't remember. Outgoing email address, active users. I wonder if this is a limitation of the React Netlify widget, because I definitely just did this with the non-React version, and it definitely worked. So I'm wondering, maybe we do it framework agnostic. That might be, because the nice thing about the framework agnostic version is it has very little code. So we end up with including the widget, and then we can just kind of drop this in, and that's a little less intense. So maybe we start there, because that way we're not going to be. I basically I don't want to fall down like is this Gatsby or React or Netlify hole. So let's do that. Let's bail on Gatsby. So I'm going to go back out here. Let's just get rid of it all. Get out of here. None of this. Get out of my house. And then I'm going to go in here, and we'll have a dist folder, I guess, and we'll still have an npm run build. We'll still have that, but I'm going to get rid of Gatsby browser. I'm going to get rid of Gatsby config. Get rid of...
the chat is pointing at a link. Localhost.
Okay, well, I think I may have prematurely bailed, but at this point we've come too far, because I already deleted all the source code. So
oh no,
that's okay. It'll go. This will go pretty fast because I have very little to do here. So what I can do is set up a index.html. And in my index.html, I'm going to say login, and then I can go right to our code if I git browse, and I can get the HTML that I wrote. So I'm going to get this h1 and paragraph, and I'll drop this in. Okay, that's all good. Then I'm going to go over to the Netlify identity widget. I'm going to grab this script, and we are going to drop it up at the top because we want to make sure that we validate identity before we do anything else. And then I'm going to grab this login button, and we'll put that down at the bottom. So this is going to simplify things a little bit. Let's have it run from source for now. And then I'm going to run netlify dev. Okay. So we've got our, see, this is what I was hoping for. It just gives us the URL. So we go with HTTPS and then set that. Failed to load settings from Jamstack subscriptions. What does that even mean? Why are you giving me CORS errors? That doesn't make any... You're making me unhappy. I literally just did... Oh, the site deploy failed. There is no site, so it can't read the settings. Okay, so that's fine. That is that's kind of an embarrassing thing to. Okay, let's try this again. So we've removed the Gatsby browser, the git ignore, the package JSON. Let me just do a quick npm install to remove all of those packages that we're no longer using, so that it doesn't spend any time on the build doing that. And we'll just head back over here to validate that our npm folder will be empty once this is finished. It's just removing everything. The other benefit of going with a framework agnostic one is we have to install very little to make it work. So here is our node modules. And it's basically empty. And so now if I go to, good, let's add that. I'm going to git commit and we'll say back to basics. Okay, nope, git push. All right, and then if we come out here, this is going to start a new build. And this will happen nice and fast because there's not really anything to do. Is this going to fail? Because I don't have a build script. If it ain't one thing, it's another thing. Okay, so we'll say change this to no build script. And push one more time. Adnan, I do have a Discord server. It's not mine, but it's where I hang out. It's called the Party Corgi Discord, and it is a really good time. So I would love it if y'all wanted to come and hang out. It's a really supportive place for people who are content creators or interested in becoming content creators, up and coming developers. We've got people who have been doing dev for years, people who have just started or are in boot camps or trying to learn now. It's a really good place to be. It's one of my favorite places on the internet. So with that, we have a site that's actually live. So if I go out here, I go to my deploys, I'm gonna run here, we can sign up or log in, right? So I'm gonna, that's me. Okay, and then I'll do, whoops. How about that? Here we go. All right, confirmation message was sent to my email. So let me pull my email up real quick and verify this. Okay, I have signed up. I am logged in. I am now Jason. And if I run netlify dev now, okay, find my site. Let's see. Let's close all these that we're not using. This one. Okay, log in. Okay, we're logged in. There we go. All right, so now. What should have taken me 10 seconds if we'd done it this way to begin with, we're a little behind schedule here, but we're gonna make this work. So I have the ability to log in. So next we need to create a subscription, right?
Yeah. Next, let's actually bring in our database. So okay. The database we're going to use to map to keep a record of all our users. But also specifically to map our Netlify ID for the user to our customer ID in Stripe. So yeah, it's basically a mapping table. And then later on, I think also we're holding content in there. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm on fauna.com. I've created a new database. We're going to call it Jamstack subscriptions. And now we need to actually define it. So we're going to use the GraphQL method, which is my favorite because it's nice and fast. So let's create a database folder, and I'm just going to call this schema. And inside of it, we need to define our types. So we need, for now, let's just start with our, users, right? So did we?
Yeah, I think we want a Netlify user ID and then a Stripe customer ID.
So we'll do a Netlify ID,
most basic,
and a Stripe ID, right? And both of these are IDs. These should probably both be unique, because we shouldn't be able to be the same Netlify user with multiple subscriptions, and we shouldn't be able to be one Netlify user reusing a Stripe ID. So I believe we want those to be unique. So we've now defined our user type, right? And this is where I think Fauna's done a really good job, is that they have set us up where if we go in here, we go to Jamstack subscriptions, find the schema that we just wrote, and I open it, it just created all the things that we need to create, update, delete users. So if I do something like, let's write a query and I'll create a user. Oh, this is a mutation, create user, and the data that I want to send in, it's going to autocomplete for me. So I have a Netlify ID, we'll say 1, and a Stripe ID, we'll say 2. And then what's going to come back is going to be a Netlify ID and a Stripe ID. And here we go, we've got this user. If I go out to my collections, I can see that that got created. That's not data that we want, so I'm going to delete it. But so now this is good. We're in. We've done it. We've actually created a full production database, which is pretty amazing, right? Like I love how fast that happens. So from here, we can do stuff with it. So how do we want to hook this up now that we've got a database?
Yeah, so I think we'll, for Netlify identity, we have sort of listener functions or event functions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, anytime someone signs up, we want to trigger that function and we want to write a new record to our database.
Okay. So that means that we can, basically we get like webhooks with Netlify identity. So whenever somebody signs up, we can trigger a function that'll do something. So I can write functions identity signup.js, and in here we will exports.handler, and that will be an async function. And by default, we want to return a status code of 200 and a body of something. So this is a serverless function. We've just set up serverless functions on Netlify. That's all it takes. It's a functions folder, a file, and then we told Netlify where to find them here. And then you have to export a handler function, and you have to return a status code and a body. That's a serverless function. Like what I like about this is that this is effectively a server. We've just created an API endpoint. So what'll happen is that this is going to be available at our site /.netlify/function/identity signup. And what's really powerful about this is that we can write as many of these as we want, and Netlify will deploy them for us. And we can do it's node code. So we can process images, we can talk to databases, we can use client or like secret keys and stuff that you can't put into your job, like front end JavaScript. And that's why we're doing it here, because we have to be able to talk to our Fauna database, which requires a privilege token. We're going to have to talk to Stripe, which requires privilege tokens. And so serverless functions make that possible for us. So now that I've got this, what should I do? Like, what's my next step here?
Yeah, maybe as a first step. So I think from the event context, we can get the user who signed up. And then we basically just take the Netlify ID from that user and create a new database record. Maybe should we do that for now?
Yeah, so here's what I'm going to do so that we can see what comes back. I'm going to stringify the args and log it. So this is just going to output this into the function logs. Now, one thing to keep in mind with, let's just return OK so that it doesn't explode on us. And one thing to keep in mind is that with webhooks, these have to be deployed. So I have to actually create these. So let's add. Okay, then I'm going to git commit feature. We'll say identity webhook. And then we'll push. Okay. And then if we go back to Netlify here, under our deploys, we can see that it is running. And if we follow this down, and it'll build nice and fast because we're not actually doing a build step. We're just reading from that HTML file. Okay, and it says one new function to upload, right? And our site is live. So now if we go look at the functions tab, we can see that we've got this identity sign up function, and this is going to have a log. So if I go out to the site, let's just open the site. I think I closed that tab. Okay, so I'm going to log out, and then I'm going to sign up again. And we'll say, and that will give me a confirmation message, which I'm going to go over here and click. There it is. Oh, damn it. Okay. I did this wrong because these webhooks don't take the standard functions signature. That's on me. So what we will see though, if we look in the log, is here's the object of what was sent in. So we get in our args, we get the path, we get the HTTP method, the headers, and then we also get the context. So in the context, we get the client context, the identity, the URL, the token, and where is the actual user ID? Body. We've got the body, so an event, sign up, instance ID, and then we've got a user ID, and we'll be able to get that out. So this is what we're actually interested in, is in the event itself, there's a body. Oh, thank you very much for the subscriptions, y'all. I appreciate that. See ya, Bullet Ninja. Appreciate you both. But so yeah, now we're gonna have event.body, and inside of event.body, we will have a user.id, and that's what we want to actually grab. So the other thing that we have to do is we have to look at what the identity looks like. So the payload looks like this, and we need to return just the user context. So user metadata or app metadata. And that's the part that I screwed up. So what we'll do is let's go rewrite this. And so we're gonna get our, oh, Dom, you gentle giant doing.
I have no idea what's happening.
I know, we just got so many subs gifted. I really appreciate it. That is amazing. Oh, Thor, now you're a subscriber. You can use the boop commands.
Oh, okay.
Post some corgis. Troll yourself.
It sounds like I just outed myself as like the biggest noob. Noob.
It is totally okay. It took me a long time to really understand what was going on Twitch. There's a lot. Okay, so I need to return a JSON object with new user metadata or app metadata. So our function actually needs to return JSON stringify, and we want to add a role. And so the role is basically like we can specify these however we want. So like sub-zero or free, or let's maybe just give them human names. Sub free, so we know it's a subscription and we know that it's free. Actually, let's do it like an actual role, right? Like it's a subscription and it's the free plan. That makes sense to my brain. And then the thing that we're gonna have to do up here is we get the event. And so, oh man, y'all are amazing today. Thank you so much. And we're getting buried in boops. It's wonderful. So we now have the user, and the user is gonna come out of JSON parse event.body. Okay. So that will give us our user. So let me actually log the user now. Okay. And in our user, I put my phone in airplane mode and it's still making noise. Give me just a second. Shush you. Okay. It has a bunch of calendar invites like memorized, and so it's beeping at me. You stop that. So now What was I doing? Ah, yes. So to recap, we got a handler. This is a special handler because it's an identity webhook. So instead of the standard response of status code and body, we're going to specifically return user metadata. So either app level metadata that can't be affected by the user, and or user metadata that can be affected by the user. And that would be where you would keep like their name or some preferences that they could edit. We have the user object, and so we're just going to log that for now. And then we're going to return app metadata that says they are a free subscriber. So let's save that, go out here, and then we will...
There is a question. Where is the glue that the function identity signup is triggered? I think that's just automatically by Netlify, our Netlify project, right?
Yeah, so basically the way that Netlify identity works out here, let me commit this and I'll show you while we do it. Let's see. Let's say work in progress again. Log out user info, add role. Let's push. Okay. So while we're waiting for that to go, Netlify identity has 3 events that it triggers as webhooks. So when you attempt to validate somebody who's signing up, so if you wanted to do something like, say, only people with a valid @netlify.com email can sign up for this website, that would be this identity validate function. Then there's identity signup. So after someone has signed up through Netlify identity, this will get triggered. And then there's login, which is anytime somebody does a login. And so each of these is a webhook. When identity performs an action, it will look for a function named one of these 3 things. So when somebody tries to sign up, identity will look for identity validate. If it finds it, it will execute this function before it does the sign up. After somebody signs up, Netlify will look for a function called identity signup. If it finds one, it will execute it. And the same with the login. When somebody logs in, it will look for this function and it will execute it. So we don't have to set that up. That's automatically set up. We just have to, all we have to do is go in and like create these functions if we want to take advantage of this. So that, I think, should have been enough time that we are deployed. So let's go back and take a look just to be sure. Yep, we are deployed. That's all right. So that's published. We can go over to our functions. Here's identity sign up. Let's sign up once again. This time I will be JSON 3. Okay. Wait for that confirmation email to show up. There it is.
It's really neat that you don't have to handle any passwords and stuff. That's just such a rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's really nice to have. I'm wondering why my function didn't do what I wanted though. So here's our actual user object. So we've got an ID here. We've got here's our email, and we've got an app provider, user metadata, all of that good stuff. And I'm wondering if maybe is it creating the identity at all? Let's see. So it is creating it, but something is going wrong with the validation.
Is it the return value?
I thought I got that right. Let's find out. So my return value, app metadata, roles, admin.
I think you're stringifying it.
Yeah, because that turns it into like I could also just send it back as like a literal string.
Does it need to be a string? Not
an
object. Interesting.
Right, so that's what's happening here. App metadata, roles, admin can return a JSON object. Maybe it does expect an object. Let's try it. Maybe I'm wrong here.
I think it might expect also the 200, right?
I don't.
It's that, no?
Oh. Thor. It's early.
Yeah, sorry.
it is early, man. Why am I even awake right now? I don't know how you do this staying up late. My brain is like 3 train stops behind us. Okay. So I was wrong. Every serverless function has to return a status and a body. I just
Gotcha.
like we need to update those docs. That's not those are confusing. Let's make this better. So what are you doing? Here we go. Git commit am. Okay, we'll push that up. Let's try this one more time. Here's our site. Post-processing done. Site is live. Okay, we're going to try this. We've got here. I'm going to sync up the names with the numbering. Let's sign up. Okay, confirmation message sent to my email. Coming out here to get it. Come on.
Boop. How do we get the corgi stampede? Is that something I can do now?
You can, yeah. Just use the JLang corgi emote, and if you use enough of them, you will trigger a stampede. Aha! That was it. So, not some chaos. Good. Oh
Wait,
boy,
where's the
chat,
music?
y'all really went in on that. Okay.
Holy buckets, did that just work?
Thank you. I needed that.
Good. Okay, so here we go. We've got, so now we're logged in, and we can see that if we go back up to our functions, we have another object logged. Here is JSON4. We've got an ID, everything there. And then if we go to identity, we can see that JSON4 now has the role of sub-free. So this is what we were actually after. Now we've got a free subscription. The part that we haven't addressed yet is how to link this up to Stripe. So this is where I'm going to lean on you a lot, Thor. So where do we go from here?
Yeah, I think do we first want to create the database record and fauna in that function, and then we can add the customer object from Stripe? What do you think?
Say that one more time. You want to do the fauna part first?
Yeah, so basically in that sign up function, we need to create the record and fauna. We need to create the Stripe customer object, as well as sign them up to the free subscription. I was just wondering if we should just hook the fauna stuff in and have that working, and then add the Stripe stuff.
Sure. Yeah, we can definitely do that. So let's go over to this part. And so the way that this is going to work is we get the fauna endpoint, and I'm going to go into my functions directory, and I'm just going to yarn init y, and then we'll npm I node fetch, because that is a tiny little utility that will let us use the web fetch API in Node. And I installed it in functions because functions need to have access to their own dependencies, because this functions folder basically gets zipped up and sent off to AWS. So we have to make sure that any dependencies they need are included in the functions folder itself. That also means that I need to, out here in my netlify.toml, I need to tell Netlify to install those. So I'm going to run netlify install. I don't remember who in chat taught me this, but this is magical. So I'm going to install in the functions directory. So before I was changing directories into it and all that stuff. I don't need to do that anymore. I can just run this. So thank you, whoever in chat taught me that little trick. So then in here, we're probably going to want to extract this into a utility since we're going to use a few of these. But for now, we'll require node fetch. And then
It's actually a good point. How do folks learn NPM?
I have no idea. I have no idea how people learn NPM. Like
Are there actually docs for it?
there are docs. They're like super thorough, but because they're so thorough, they're also really daunting. So I feel like people learn NPM the way that you learn a lot of CLI things. You learn it by tribal knowledge transfer. You hang out with somebody and they share a tip and that becomes your tip, and then you share it with somebody else. And eventually you get this kind of like network effect of like everybody's got 2 or 3 things that'll power them up. And they just, you slowly accumulate these little pieces of knowledge. I don't know. I guess it'd be there's yeah, I think that is definitely something that would be. Yeah, that's NPM. Like NPM will do the install. So if I'm out here in my I think I do NPM I prefix functions, it's going to install in the functions directory. So it's a really powerful thing. Okay, so in here I need to do a call. Let's go const response equals async fetch, and we're going to fetch. Nope, I copied it. Dang it. I want this, and we're going to send it as a post. And we want to send headers. So our headers are going to be, let's see, I've written this somewhere else. So let me just pull up the code that I use so that I don't have to do all of it again. It's in here.
Mm-hmm.
So we send to fauna.com/GraphQL, and then we need to send in these headers. So I'm just going to grab these straight across. And so this is an authorization header. We're going to use a bearer token, and that uses a Fauna server key, which I'm going to have to set up on Netlify real quick. And then in our body, we're going to send query and variables. So our body is JSON stringify query, which is going to be something, and then any variables that we need to send. And in this case, our variables will be the user IDs. So we'll have the Netlify ID and the Stripe ID. So we need to figure out what those will be. So our Netlify ID is going to be user.id. And then our Stripe customer ID for now is just going to be a number, so it doesn't break. Then we're going to take that query that we wrote, and this is something that I want to kind of take a second to point out. GraphQL doesn't require special libraries. You can just send it as requests. So what I'm doing here is I am just writing out my query, and then I'm going to post it as a standard like fetch call. And I'm doing that because I don't want to have to set up a whole like GraphQL library to make this request. I just want to be able to send it off and be done with it. So let's get our Netlify ID in here. That's going to be an ID. Then we need our Stripe ID. That's also going to be an ID. And we will set these to be the variables instead of our hard-coded values. Stripe ID. Okay. That is a GraphQL mutation in plain fetch. So we've got this, and then once we get done, we're going to say then res, and we'll get the res.json.
Wait, does that actually insert the variables?
Yeah. So we declared our variables here. We're using them here, and we're passing them in.
We need the curly brackets.
We need the curly brackets. Oh, so this is GraphQL. This isn't JavaScript.
Gotcha.
So if I can show you how this works in here. So let me take this function out. Let's put this back in here. And then we can move this over. Let's make this a little bigger. Then down here, we can set our query variables. And we'll do Netlify ID, and we can set it to 2. stripe ID, and we'll set it to 3. And then up here, so we've got a query variable, and then we use the GraphQL variable here. And so when I run it, we get 2 and 3. So basically what we're providing is this is the query, and this is the variables. And so we're just plugging those pieces together in here. Yeah. Query and variables. So then we're going to get our response. We need to make sure that we get it back as JSON. And if anything goes wrong, we just want to log that so that we can see what went wrong. It doesn't like fetch Y. Await, not async. Did somebody in chat already tell me that? Okay, so we're going to await fetch, then we get a response. And in our response, we will console.log response, just to see what we get. And let's make sure that that's clear that it's the response. Okay. We're feeling good about this? Are we happy?
I think so.
Okay, let's let's add everything. Okay, good. Git commit, store netlify user ID in fauna. Okay, so we'll push. All right, so now we have our site deploying. Good deal. Let's look at the chat. What typos, Jacob Boldup? What did I do? I didn't do nothing. Yeah, see, we will need to do some checks to make sure that everything comes back all right. But for now, we're just gonna ship it. So let's see, we've got this up. Let's go into functions, pull this up again, and let's add another user. Okay, get over to my email. Grab this, run it, ship it, good. Okay, so now, assuming everything went well, didn't work. It didn't work, and we're going to find out why by checking our logs. And our logs say response errors object. Oh, I didn't set a key. I didn't add my environment variables. Of course it won't write because we didn't give it permissions. Okay, so for this, I'm going to go into the security area and I'm going to get an API key. So I'm going to pull this off screen so that you hackers don't steal my stuff. Actually, let me show you how this works. So let's see, we're in this screen here. So you're going to go to security, you're going to hit new key, and then we want a server key. And I'm going to give it a name. We'll call this like Jamstack sub app. I don't know. And then when I hit save, it's going to show me my key. So let me pull that off. Okay. I have saved that. And then once that is saved, it lives here. And you can't see it again. You can just revoke it. So if you need a new one, you just hit new keys. And then I'm going to go into here. We're going to go to settings, build and deploy an environment. And then I want to add an environment variable. I need to remember what that environment variable is called. Fauna server key. So I'm going to create fauna server key. And then I'm going to paste my key here. And now I'm going to navigate away from this page. So I'm going to go back to the functions page. All right. So now my key's here.
You hackers, you dirty hackers.
You hackers get nothing. But what's cool about this is now check this out. So now that I've added that, when I run locally, and this doesn't help us in this case because we're not doing anything, but look at this. Now Netlify is bringing in that environment variable. So we can work with our local functions using environment variables. That it doesn't help us with identity because identity needs a bunch of APIs and servers to be running in the background. But that's a really, really nice thing to have. So now that we have an environment variable, I'm going to make one quick change so that we can actually read the error. Let's do it this way, null2, and we'll have a JSON stringify so that if we do get an error, we'll actually know what it says instead of just getting an object. Let's commit this. Add key plus stringify errors. Push. Whew. This is a lot of app to build. I am feeling the pressure of like, holy crap, we got to get through a lot.
Yeah. We haven't even gotten to the Stripe part yet. So that's,
well, the nice thing about this is that most of what we're doing is like we're clearing boulders that make the rest of it easier, right? So we've got this like identity and authentication. If you think about, like, I don't know how many of you in the chat have built authentication into apps before, but like the fact that we've been able to do it in an hour is like, me 5 years ago is staggered by that because it's just such a huge leap forward in terms of like the barriers to entry. And the fact that we've been able to not only set up identity, but set up identity and a database, and assuming this fix works, be able to have our identity instance update a third-party database. Let's find out if this works. Show me potato salad. Okay, so that it didn't fail. That's a good sign. Let's go look at our function log.
It would be neat if this just works.
Actually, that's not what I want to do. I want to look at fauna, and I want to go to collections. Look at that. Look at that work. So now we're storing user IDs automatically on account creation. So I feel like this was the hard part, like getting this part wired up.
Buckets, did that just work?
Unbelievable. So yeah, that's how like holy buckets indeed. So next we have two major hurdles left to clear. The first one is we need to get into Stripe in general and set up a subscription. The second hurdle, once we get that, is we need people to be able to manage their subscriptions and go from the free tier to a paid tier. And I guess there's a third one after that, which is that our app needs to like know which tier we're in and appropriately serve data. So
yeah,
how far can we go?
I think we'll make it. Should
I
we
believe in
switch
us.
into Stripe gear?
Let's do it. I'm going to go to Stripe.
Yeah, maybe let's actually create a fresh testing account for this.
Okay, we'll do.
So you can still log in with your credentials, but then you can simply click create a new account.
Okay, let's go here. And then I'm going to go up here and create a new account. We'll call this Jamstack, or no, we're going to call this Corgi subscriptions.
Imagine you could
so many things.
Just get a Corgi subscription for a month.
I swear, right now, especially being in quarantine, if I could get a dog in my house for 1 hour a day that I could just like pet, oh, I would do it. I would do it in a heartbeat. Okay, so I'm here. I'm in. I've got a test account. I'm ready.
Nice. So yeah, maybe should we actually set up the Stripe key in your Netlify environment variables to get that out of the way?
Let's do it. So these are test keys, so I don't mind sharing them because they're not gonna. There's no risk here. So I'm gonna have my publishable key. I need both of these, right?
No. Currently, well, let's set both up. But yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to do this
only need them
off screen because I don't want to show the other tokens. But I'm going to my environment variables again, and I'm just going to add a Stripe publishable key. And then I'm going to add a Stripe secret key, and I need to get that value. So let's go here, grab it, drop it in, saving. Okay, so now I have in my set of my environment variables, I have my fauna server key, and I have my Stripe publishable and secret keys. So these are test keys. They're like, you can't do anything with them other than like test transactions. But this will give us what we need to get going. So let me bring this back over. All right. And now I'm ready. When we go to nullify dev here, we can see that we now have the Stripe publishable and Stripe secret keys. So that's what's set up. We are ready to rock and roll.
Fantastic. So the next step, we kind of need to model our subscription business model.
Okay.
So basically, we need to create a bunch of products in the Stripe dashboard.
Okay.
And basically, what we'll do, we'll create a product for kind of every tier. So we want one content-free product, or if we just call it free. And
these are optional. I don't need those, right?
Yeah, no, don't set. No, just leave them.
Okay.
Blank.
Free.
And so this is our product, and then every product can have multiple prices. So for the free price, we're just going to set $0 US. And I mean, what this allows us to do is to basically track who has signed up and who is currently running on a free plan.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we track that in Stripe, we can actually, as someone upgrades or downgrades, we can actually track that in the reports that we get from Stripe.
Nice.
So that's why we're kind of creating the free plan here. And so basically just leave it like this, and $0 monthly, and then just say.
And so this is kind of cool too, because like metered usage is really interesting. That is probably a whole other thing that we can talk about later, but it's I really like this because it puts us in a very exciting space where like we can say, all right, you pay me a flat rate per month, or you pay me X cents per usage of a thing that I have. So our free plan, charging US dollars. Does this pricing plan have multiple price tiers based on quantity? Oh, so is that like if you buy one, it's $10. If you buy 10, it's $85 or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
You can get pretty complex here. You can build pretty complex business models, but sometimes an easy business model might actually be nice for your customers to understand what they will pay. But it can get pretty complex.
And so do I want a new product or do I want a new pricing plan?
So now we want a new product.
Okay.
So the free the free product is just going to have one pricing plan, but then let's maybe call this basic, and then have another one pro. So maybe this is the basic plan, and that gives you some maybe basic content or.
Okay.
And
created a product. We'll call it basic again. It's recurring.
So now let's actually call the plan. Let's get more specific here. So we're going to call it basic monthly US dollar.
Okay.
So maybe do basic hyphen, or monthly USD.
Okay. So I've got it. We'll say it's $10. Billed monthly. Customer subscribed to 1 unit will be billed $10 monthly at the beginning of each period. Wow, that is easy. Okay, here we go. Add pricing plan.
Cool.
I'm going to do one more. Now we're going to add a
so
premium.
Actually, let's for the basic plan, let's add a yearly plan also. But we can create and basically if you subscribe to the yearly plan, you get a little discount. So we can do basic, yearly USD. And as you can see, you could also have different currencies here. So if you wanted to offer, euro for your European customers,
Sure.
you can model all of that as like these different prices underneath your products.
Got it. Okay, so the plan will be if you go monthly, you pay $10 a month. If you go yearly, you get 2 months free. It'll be $100. So that seems good to me. Let's add that. All right. Then and that's cool. So we've got two plans. We can see them here. Very exciting. Now I'm going to go into products. I'm going to create new. We're going to go premium. All the best corgi content. And then we'll create this and we'll say premium monthly USD. This one's going to be, we'll say 50. And same deal. Good. All right. Add a pricing plan. Then we're going to add a new pricing plan. We'll say premium yearly USD. And this one's going to be yearly. And let's see, we'll call it 500. So same discount. You get 2 months free if you go annual. So we'll add a pricing plan. All right. So we have a monthly and yearly basic and premium plan. So if we come out here and we look, we can see 2 pricing plans. We've got our free plan. All good. All right. So these exist. Now what do we do?
Awesome. So while we're in the Stripe dashboard, we actually have a new product that we recently brought out, which is this self-serve portal for subscriptions. And especially for our case here, where we sort of have a limited amount of time to get this live, we can use the self-serve portal to allow customers to make modifications to their payment methods, to upgrade, downgrade, all of that good stuff. And so we can actually start off with configuring the portal features and UI. Maybe if you just want to click on the first step there.
Okay. Portal settings. So I just jump over here. I'm not going to change the branding settings or even the account information. We're just going to, yes, I want you to see your billing history. Yes, I want you to be able to update your payment methods. Yes, I want you to be able to update your subscriptions. Prorating seems reasonable. And allow cancel. Well, do we want cancellation, or we just want people to go to the free plan again, right?
No, we can allow them to cancel if we wanted to, just to kind of show that it's a different webhook that we have to handle. So maybe, yeah, let's allow cancel also.
Okay. Proration credit. Okay. All right. Then we need to add all of these, right?
Yeah. So we want all of our products and plans, pricing plans.
Okay. There's our setup. Business information. That's good. Okay. This is required. So I'm going to just set this to be our home page.
Yeah.
Because we don't have those, but we do need those. Our default redirect link after they manage their account should probably just be the homepage again. So let's just save all that. Yeah. Right? Anything I'm missing?
No, I think that sounds right. You could actually click on the preview button, which would show you what kind of the portal will look like to your customers.
This is cool. And if I change my plan, that part.
Yeah, this is especially when like you're getting started, or it's a lot of the functionality, like updating your payment method, upgrading, downgrading, which if you build this custom, you of course have a lot more control, but also it is a good bit more work.
Mm-hmm. This is very cool. Okay, so yeah, we're all set here. That's good. So I'm going to save.
Yeah.
And then we're good to go. So let's go back to the instructions. I set my product catalog. We did that part. Set the limitations, previewing. Okay. So now we need to implement a redirect. Good deal.
Yes, so we'll get to that part. The first thing that we actually need to do is we need to we need to create a customer object for them, and then we need to sign them up to the free plan, and we can do that in our sign up function. So where we had the placeholder for the Stripe customer ID, let's use the Stripe node library. So we would have to npm install Stripe.
I'm going to try this. npm install Stripe prefix. I've never tried this one before, so it might not work. Functions.
Let's see.
Is it, and that's the library, right?
Yeah, just Stripe. That is our Stripe node library. Yes.
It says it installed it in functions. Let's take a look. Ah, that's cool. I love those
That's
little
really
tips.
cool.
They make life so much easier. Okay, so we've got that now. And so I can bring it in. So Stripe equals require Stripe. Okay.
And we'll need our server key, secret key passed in there.
Okay. And now for those, remind me, is it like new Stripe?
No, I think it's require Stripe. And then we just call it
like right here
behind the brackets. We just chain it, I think.
Okay.
Oh, I do this so often and I still don't.
Should I go look at the docs? Let's go look at the docs. All right. npm js com package Stripe.
Yeah, you can actually look in the docs for the billing portal as well. So like every
straight up
Stripe request. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not an object, it's just the key. So we'll go process.m.stripe secret key. Yes.
Yeah.
You validate that that is actually what I meant. Stripe secret key. Good. All right. So now we have a Stripe object. And down here, I can do, what do I want to do to create a customer?
Yeah, so you basically say const customer equals await stripe.customers.create.
Is that right? Was it
sorry,
customers?
I have a bit of lag on my customers. Yeah, it's always plural.
Is that right?
Yeah, customers create, and then we just pass in an object, and let's just set do we have the email address?
Let's check the logs. Let's go to the logs, Dan. Here we go. We do indeed have an email.
Nice. So let's just say email.
User.email. Good. Okay. Anything else?
No. That will give us the customer.
And then can I just do like customer.id?
Yeah, that is correct. But before that, let's actually subscribe them to our free plan just to make sure we have them signed up.
Okay.
So between the customer and the Stripe ID, just do await stripe.subscriptions.create.
Subscriptions.create.
Correct. And we'll need to pass in the customer. Let's actually maybe go to the API reference.
Okay.
That might be
good.
Easier.
Good call. So let's go Stripe SDK. Is that going to show up for me?
If you just go Stripe API ref.
Stripe API ref, what's the URL?
It's stripe.com/docs/API.
API. Okay, and then we needed to create a subscription.
Yeah.
Subscriptions. Create a subscription, doing it with Node, stripe.subscriptions.create, and then we're going to pass in a customer ID, items.
Correct.
Okay, let's just copy this across. Okay. And in here, we need customer.id, and our free plan is going to be in here somewhere.
In the
Free.
dashboard, yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
Or is it the
And then
plan?
under the prices, so if you click on the free prices and then free, if you click on that, and then in the top right corner, there is a copy. You just click on it.
Okay. So wait, did it already know my plan name?
Yeah, because you're logged into your dashboard, it actually uses real IDs from your account.
Listen, Stripe, you all gotta stop being so smart. Okay, so we don't need that user ID anymore. Should I log any of this for, no, we're okay.
No, we can look in the dashboard logs. So basically just, Stripe ID is customer.id. That should be it pretty much.
I guess let's ship it, right? I think.
Yeah. Show me potato salad.
All right, here we go. Let's see. Create Stripe let's see, customer sub. Okay, push. All right, and now we go back.
No, this will work. This will work.
Yes.
I'm feeling pretty excited right now, y'all. This is really cool. So we have, I hope, fingers crossed, this is gonna work. Okay, we're live. So I'm gonna come back out here to here. Let's change this to number 7. We're gonna sign up. Go to email. Go in here. Let's verify that account. Okay, no errors. All right, moment of truth. Oh, we have done it. That is amazing. Okay, so now we have the ability to like get this information, right? So maybe what we can do.
Holy buckets! Did that?
Wait, does Behold not work yet? Oh, that's too bad. That should work. What a tragedy that that's not there. Okay, so anyways, so we've got this. So what do you want to, how do you want to do, like?
Yeah, let's quickly check the Stripe dashboard logs just to see that the customer is correctly signed up for the right subscription.
New customers. Do I go here?
Yeah, I mean, you can go to customers on the left.
Customers on the left.
The left menu, yeah.
Subscribed to free.
Nice. Okay, so that actually did exactly what we wanted.
Freaking
that is
magic.
Fabulous. So I think as a next step, what would be awesome if we could show, so when the customer is logged in, to actually show them their account details, maybe.
Show account details. So you wanna pull
Which
this
is basically
in.
pretty much right now we just have their subscription tier, I guess.
Right. Okay. So we want to do something like, let's say, get user details. That seems like
I think we actually have it we have the role in the JSON token, right? So
we do.
So if we just lock that,
oh,
if they are logged in,
you're totally right. Okay, so we don't need this one. So let's get that. Get out of here. All right, so let's go here, and then we're going to add some JavaScript. And the JavaScript that we are going to add needs to get at the user details. So we're going to use Netlify identity, and I've got some notes down here so that we don't burn a bunch of time trying to make this work. I did some. Is this the one? I put notes together and they're bad notes. just not great notes. Okay, so I'm gonna go in and look at my repos. I created a private repo that does some of this. I'll open source it all once we get through today. And in here somewhere there is a Netlify identity webhooks, I think is what I figured out. And we figured out on the front page that we needed to have, here we go. So we get the window.netlify identity, and that's going to give us a user. So let's just start there. We're gonna get our user, and we will let's add a dumping ground here. So what we'll do is we'll say document.querySelector pre, and then we'll just set the inner text to be JSON stringify user null2. What are you trying to do? Get out of here. Okay, so that is our basic setup. I'm going to run netlify dev. And now out here on our local host, I'm able to show what we've got. So we've got our app metadata. I need to refresh the token. So let's make sure that we refresh that token. Here. So before we do anything, we're going to refresh our user token, and then we're going to do stuff. And the reason for that is that we're going to be changing the roles, and we always want to make sure that we have the latest information. So we're just going to send off a quick request. And so what's happening here is Netlify identity is going to get our current user, and then we're going to get a JSON web token, and this argument is to force a refresh. So the result that comes back is a JSON web token. So let's clean this up a bit, and we'll say that const token equals await. I think that'll work. And then this will let us, out here we can just console.log, or no, we're not going to do that. We're going to console.log the token instead. And let's make sure that that works. I really wish you would stop talking. I think that is already refreshed. So let's go back to our page here. Let's reload. And it didn't like that. Uncaught in promise. Index.js 132. Not 100% sure that any of that does what we want. So instead, let's just do a .then, and we'll get our token, and we'll do this dance out here, so that I'm not burning a bunch of time trying to figure that out. Not read property JWT of null. Oh, okay. So let's figure out what the user is, I guess.
Hmm.
Might have lost my user here. So let's JSON stringify user null 2. We don't have a user, so I just need to. So basically, I think we need to say like if no user, we can just return.
Okay.
Okay. So now I can log in. I'm going to log in as, what was my username out here?
Where are we at? JSON 7?
We're at 7. Okay, so I'm logged in.
Okay.
And now we get an access token. Okay, that's what we wanted. So let me take my access token over to here, and we can see we've got our roles. Perfect. That's what we wanted. So
Nice.
that is very exciting. And
How do we get the role out of there?
we can do it by, actually, we're just going to get this. So I think what we can do is we can actually get like, we'll just get the user again. So we'll say window, I think I can just do window.netlifyIdentity.current user. And then let's log the let's log that instead, current user.
Okay.
There we go. And we can see the roles are here. Perfect. So that's going to be user.appmetadata.roles. So if I want to get, we'll say roles equals current user.app metadata. Good. Here. All right. And then we can say something like, we'll just log out the roles, make sure that it's giving us what we want. Okay, so there's our roles. So now we've got a list of our roles to do whatever we want with. I think in the interest of time, we can just stay there.
Yeah.
All right.
So let's just add a button now and have the button just say, manage your subscription, or maybe subscription portal or something like that.
Okay. I'm wondering, I think I forgot. I don't know why this is doubling up text. I'm looking at, I probably forgot to include something, but let's just not stress about it. And instead, we're going to add a, I'm kind of, we're skipping a step here, which is that I would want this to be only displayed if we were logged in. In the interest of not like going down a rabbit hole here, I'm just gonna have the button work, and we'll say, oops, we'll give it a name of manage sub, and then we'll make sure that we just do a check.
Oh, we're getting tons of questions. Yes, so basically the roles in Netlify directly map to our plans. So sub free, sub basic, sub premium, these are the roles that we're going to set on our Netlify identity users. And basically what we need to do is, and what we're going to do in kind of the next hour is hook up the Stripe webhooks when someone changes their subscription to then find our user mapping in Fauna to then update the role in Netlify identity.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? But the first thing we need to do is we actually need to be able to send them to the subscription portal. And so we're going to need a new Netlify function that just reads out the customer that is logged in from the database, finds the correct Stripe customer ID, and then creates a portal login link.
Okay. So, and like specifically, there are a bunch of ways that we could solve this problem, right? We could basically pull all of our information out of the database, and anytime that you updated your plan, we could like update the database from Stripe, and then every time that we requested content, we could hit the database to make sure you have access. Like, there are so many ways that we can do this. What we're doing here is we're assigning the JSON web token roles, because that's a little more cross everything. So we can do things like immediately bail on a function if you don't have the appropriate role to access it. And so it lets us shortcut a couple things. But ultimately, like, you can solve this a lot of different ways. So don't take this as the only solution. This is just a solution. So you said we need a function to
create the redirect link for the portal.
Okay. So we're going to create a manage link, and that I assume is going to need Stripe, which is require Stripe.
Correct.
And that needs our process.m.stripe secret key. And then we're going to export handler an async function that will return a status code and a body. Okay, so that's the guts of it. And then we're going to have an event, and we're going to get context. And the nice thing about this is that our context, if I can spell it, is going to include a user object. And so that user object will have, we'll get user out of context, client context. And this includes basically whatever's in the JSON web token. And in our case, if you're logged in, you're going to get a user. So then we can take that user and we can do something like, let's write our query. I want to query by ID. And I think that might mean that we need to query find user by ID. Which ID are they going to let us search by? That's going to be a different ID. We need to search by Netlify ID. So I need to write a new piece of our schema. And we're going to get user by Netlify ID. And that is going to take a Netlify ID. And it's going to return a user.
And we should also add the one for the Stripe, because later on we will get a webhook from Stripe, and we will need to be able to find the user by their Stripe ID. So let's add that query also.
Get user by Stripe ID. And that will also return a user. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm going to go to Fauna. I'm going to update the schema. And we'll do that by just grabbing that schema that we already had. And I think that worked. Good. Let's go in here. Now we have a get user by Stripe ID and a get user by Netlify ID. And so we can do something like get user by Stripe ID. Let's go grab one of them and just double check. Here is our user. So we'll say get user by Stripe ID, and the Stripe.
That's the Netlify
that's
ID.
That's the wrong one. Netlify ID. And then we'll use the Netlify ID, pass this in.
Nice.
And we want to get back the Stripe ID. And we'll get the Netlify ID just for confirmation. We're not using those, so we can collapse them. Go away. Okay, or not. And this gives us our customer ID and our Stripe ID. Cool. So we can take this. Let's get back out here. We will create manage links, and we're going to start by writing our query. That is going to be here. All right. And in this case, we need a netlify ID, and that's going to be an ID. And we're going to drop that in here. And then we also need variables, and those variables are going to be netlify ID, and that will be user.id. Okay, so then what I want to do, because I don't want to rewrite this code every time that we use it, is I'm going to take this and I'm going to create a little utility function out of it. So let's create utils. We'll call it fauna. And then I need to get fetch, node fetch. All right. And this is going to be async function. We'll just call it fauna fetch. Yeah, why not? And that is going to accept query and variables. And it's going to return. And we will just pass in the query and the variables. Okay, so that's going to do all the work for us. And I am, let's see. Exports.faunafetch is going to equal an async arrow function because we need this to be, I just want this to be a named export. So let's do it like that. And then in this function, I will const faunafetch equals require utils fauna, and then I can just we'll say result equals await faunafetch query variables. Okay, so now we've built a little utility so that we can very quickly send these off and not have to overthink them. And then once we get that back, we want to create a management link. So our result is going to include, let's just console log that, or no, let's do this. Let's, for now, we can just return it. This is my favorite way to debug these. We can just JSON stringify the result, right? And then out here, we can create a function, and this function will just use the fetch API. So we'll say fetch, we'll send it to .netlify functions get manage link, and we're going to use method post. We will send in headers of authorization, and then we're going to send in a bearer token that is our access token. So I'm just going to drop that right in.
Nice.
And then I want to send in, I don't really
that should be it.
Yeah,
right?
I don't really need anything else. I think that's all I need. So then I'm going to get .then, get the response. The response is going to be JSON. And then we'll catch any errors. We'll just console.error those. Okay. And assuming that, and then because we're not catching it yet, we'll just log that response.
Will we need to deploy the function for it to work?
Nope.
Nice.
So now that we're not using webhooks, let me just start netlify dev over again because I can't remember if this function existed. Now that we are at localhost, we can come out here. Let's refresh. Doesn't like that, so something didn't work. We're getting a 404. Netlify functions. Netlify functions get manage link. Did I mess this up?
.index.html?
Create manage link. I typoed. Okay, so we got errors. variable netlify ID expected value of type ID, but value is undefined. So I sent in the wrong data. Netlify ID, netlify ID, my variable, netlify ID, user.id. Oh wait, this is, what is it? It has a different value. Let's go check the logs real quick. It has a name that's not ID that is kind of confusing, but we can still use it. So if I look at functions, we look at this identity, oh no, that's not gonna do what I want. Let's just log. We'll just log things. Console.log user. Okay, let's try that again. And we'll see this in the console that we get a sub, not an ID. So I just need to change this over to use user.sub instead of netlify or instead of ID. And now if I reload, we get data, get user by netlify ID, and there is our information. So that's good. That means that we've got what we need. Obviously, we don't need to return this. So instead, we know that we're going to get back a result, and our Stripe ID then is result.data.get user by, I really wish I could make that stop, netlify ID dot Stripe ID.
Awesome.
Okay, so that's doing what we want.
Now, if you go back to the documentation for the portal, you can just copy the request to create the portal link.
Okay.
And you can await that.
Await. So link equals await, and the customer is going to be our Stripe ID. The return URL is going to be is that going to work for me? I think that'll work for me. And then this is no longer.
The chat is asking why user.sub. What was the reason again?
So if I'm being completely honest, I don't know. I would assume that this is some kind of like a holdout from a previous iteration where everyone who had an identity account is a subscriber to your particular GoTrue API or something. In all honesty, I think it's just a case where something was named and then it never got renamed when that name started to mean something else. But yeah, so that's your Netlify identity sub ID because you've created an account, which means that you're subscribed to the account. It's all naming is hard. I think this works. I might have to hard code. Let's give that a shot. But this
that should be cool.
So let's send back what we get.
Yeah, awesome.
All right, so let's give this a shot. Here is our ID. We've got a billing portal session, and our URL is here. That is dope.
So we'll just redirect over to that.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna do all this at one time. So let's go into. Oh, you just want to read? Oh, shoot. That is cool. Okay.
Okay.
So we can basically make it so that this will all execute and then redirect. And I have done this before. Where have I done it before? I've done it on my own website. So let's go to my website. And we'll look at the functions, which are where? Where
are they?
Is it on Learn with Jason? Oh boy. Functions. Subscribe. After you subscribe. That's right. So you send a status code of 301. You send headers. The location that you want to send to is the page you want to go to. And then you give a body. So I'm going to say redirecting. And we'll set headers, location, and the location that we wanted to use was
link.url, is it?
link.url.
Nice.
Okay, so this is going to happen immediately, which is not what we want. We're going to wrap this up in a function, but let's test that it actually works. No.
I think, but we'll have to.
Oh. That triggers cores, which is probably a good thing, I suppose.
Yeah.
But maybe I can.
We could deploy it, but
actually, you know what? Let me see what happens if we do it like this instead. So.
Yeah, we could redirect on the client.
Yeah, let's redirect on the client. That'll be fine. So we're going to get our create manage link. And instead of sending this back, we're just going to send back our link.url. Okay, so now what we'll get back is our URL. No.
Yeah. I mean, you could just send the whole link object, but yeah, that works. Cool.
So there's our URL. And now that we've got that, I'm going to wrap this up in a function. And our function is going to be called redirect to manage. And so we will do all that inside of a function. And then in here, what we can do is we can window.location.
Should we do push?
Isn't it just like equals?
Yeah, I think if you use the .push function, it gets submitted to the history or something. What I remember there's some benefit or something.
MDN would JS navigation? Nope. Navigator.
It's just location push, no?
I don't think it was location push. It was who remembers, chat? Somebody knows this.
History? Someone says history. History?
Yeah.
Push? No.
History? History. Okay, so show me how to push state.
No, but location should...
This seems like a lot. Like if I just MDN window location. If I just want to move somebody, assign, reload, replace. Location href. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, let's
maybe not. Yeah. Let's not bog down here. So I'm going to do something that might not be the right idea, but we'll do window.location.href equals response. We'll just name that. And I think that'll just work. So something's not happy.
Fingers crossed.
Redirect to manage here. Okay. And so then what we need to do is we need to say let's put it below. So we'll say underneath this, we're going to say document dot query selector, and it was manage sub. Oh my God, that pop-up is going to kill me. We're going to add event listener, and we'll say click, and we will run redirect to manage. So now this should happen when we click the button. So let's try it. Okay, first nothing happens, then I click this, then it redirects. Okay, so now
awesome.
If I go in to change my plan, I'll select, I'm going to confirm, It wants my info, so I'll put in the Stripe test card, which is all 4.2, and then you just put in like any future expiration date and like number jumble for the rest.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have changed my plan. So this is exciting.
Awesome.
However, if we go and look at the identity, we can see that I'm still sub-free.
Oh, no.
So that's no good. We don't want that. So what do we do now to make sure that we're updating our subscribers appropriately?
Yeah. So if you go back to the portal documentation, there's a section on webhooks. And so one of the webhook events that we want to handle is for upgrading and downgrading subscriptions. And so specifically, it is the customer.subscription.updated event.
Okay.
You can actually go to your Stripe dashboard now, and you will see that event for the update you just did. So if you go to developers, events, yeah, and you will see that there. So that's the customer subscription updated. And then I think we have items, items.data, .plan. Yeah, and then we can match on the nickname or the plan ID if we had the plans in the database. But I think for now we can just use the nickname.
Yeah, I think that'll be okay. Cool. Good. So
we will need another function, and maybe we just call it handle webhooks.
Handle webhooks. Okay. And this one, I assume we're going to need Stripe.
Correct. Yes. I think we can actually, we have like a webhook handler netlify function in one of our existing projects. If we go to the Stripe sample, so maybe we can just copy, because we do like the webhook signature verification stuff.
Okay, so I want to go to github.com Stripe samples. And which one am I looking for?
I think if you just type in netlify in the search, there it is.
All right, and it was handle purchase is the one that has the webhook,
yeah, I
right?
think the handle purchase, exactly.
Okay.
And so we should just...
So we want this. Now there's a webhook secret that we don't have. So we're going to need to create that.
Correct.
Okay. All right, so to walk through this code, what we're doing is basically we get back in the event, we get body and headers. We are telling Stripe webhooks to check that the event is legit, and we do that with a webhook secret. That prevents someone from spoofing, like saying like, I just bought all your stuff, and they could send an event to this function that would like put them into the system. Right. So the webhook secret validates that the signature is legit. It's an actual Stripe event that was actually paid for and all those things. So that's why we have to do this step. Otherwise, I could just learn the function names and that would do it. For my uses stuff, that's everything that I use. If you are curious about the tools and stuff, VS Code themes and fonts and all that good stuff.
That's really cool. I basically just copied your VS Code settings and theme.
Awesome.
Really useful for streaming or recordings, yeah.
Okay, so I need to go get this secret. So let's go to the dashboard. I'm going to go to webhooks, and I need to... How do I create my secret?
Well, so actually, do you have the Stripe CLI installed? Because we can forward webhooks to our local host.
Yes, I do.
Nice. So let's actually do that. If you just type Stripe login, just to make sure we're connecting
Enter to open the browser.
Yeah, to the correct Stripe account.
Corgi subscriptions.
Yeah. So allow access.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. That's fun.
Yeah.
I'm allowing it. I may now close this window.
Nice.
Okay. I'm logged in.
And so if you just run stripe listen, we will actually give you the webhook secret that is used for local testing. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to
set that up.
Yeah. All right. So let me pull this off screen real quick. Add this in my environment. Environment, and it was Stripe webhook secret, which I'll set to the value that the CLI just output for us. I'm going to save that. I'm going to get out of this screen, and we'll come back over here. All right. So now I have a Stripe webhook secret. And if I run netlify dev again, it is now available. Good. So I can go into here and actually let's go back to the samples. And I'm just going to copy this. I think I'm going to copy this wholesale.
Yeah, and then we can holo out
just
the
copy
if
the
statement.
whole thing. And then let's clean up the parts that we don't need. So, oh, what was that?
Oh. Come on, GitHub.
I think that was bad copy paste on my part. All right, so we are not going to send any mail with this one, so we can skip
we can actually
that.
Delete most of the
Okay, so actually this is the whole part we're not going to need. We are
the first line
send...
of the if we can actually reuse just
that
to
was
get
what
the event object.
Oh, I got you. Okay, so let's get rid of that part then. And then we've got, error handling. So we're going to try this webhook event. If something goes wrong, we respond with a 400 and say that there was a problem with the webhook. If not, we're going to check that it is the webhook that we want, which we have to update. And then we'll return just a 200 that says it's okay. Because the webhook doesn't actually send any data back. It just handles. So we just need to return a valid signature that says hey, nothing broke. So in here, then I need to check for
the
customer subscription updated.
Subscription updated. That's it.
Customer.subscription.updated. All right. Mm-hmm. So now I have an event object. So.
And that will be our subscription object.
This is the subscription object.
Correct.
Okay. So then, I guess I can just log this for now, and we'll take a look at it. We'll JSON stringify subscription.
Yeah. Nice.
Null2. Let's see. We're up and running, so I'm going to go manage my subscription again. Let's go to.
You will need to start the forwarding to the function first with the Stripe CLI.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Do you know what the local host URL for the function is?
Yes.
Cool. So if you just do in a separate tab, so you have a separate tab. Cool. Mm-hmm. So it's Stripe listen --forward -2.
Forward 2.
Yeah, and that equals forward -2.
Okay.
No camel case. Yeah. And that equals your local host port 888
functions, and it was handle web hooks.
That's it.
Okay.
And now all the Stripe events will be, and no, that webhook secret is the same.
Okay. So now I'm here. I want to go back. All right, now I'm going to manage my subscription.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on this plan. Let's change to the premium plan. And I've already got my payments settled, which is awesome. I'm getting prorated, which is fascinating. Oh, because it's the 13th. Cool. Confirm. All right. And oh no, it prorated because I had I'd already paid for the $10 plan.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. So now we've got our subscription object. This was just logged.
Nice.
And it includes
the customer ID, hopefully.
Customer ID.
Nice.
Okay, so let's pull these pieces out as we find them. We want the Stripe ID is subscription
.customer.
Customer. All right.
And then we want the items items.data 0.plan. Yeah, that's quite nested.
Items data 0 plan.
And then .nickname, I think, was it?
Plan dot nickname.
What we want to match on.
Okay. And so that is good for me. So then we need to figure out that the role, so we can do this a bunch of ways. I think the easiest way, since we've got a couple variations, but they're ultimately the same access, is we can do something like let's say let role, and then if plan dot match. Let's see. I'm going to do this in a console because I always forget how this stuff works. So we'll do a plan that we're going to get back will be like premium monthly USD, right? And so what I want to do is I want to match on starting with premium, and that should return true. Or what if it? Okay, but what if it's not? It comes back null. So we can do that, and null will be falsy. So that should work. So we can do like if plan starts with basic, then we want role equals sub basic.
I mean, we could probably just take the first word of the nickname and use that as the role, no? Because it basically maps to free basic premium.
We could. Yeah. Okay, so you're saying do like
a substring.
Yeah, so we would do, what is this? So it would be like split on spaces and then take the first word.
I'd say so.
Okay. Yeah, that works.
Maybe lowercase it.
Yep. All right. So we'll do role equals plan dot split on spaces. We'll take the first word and we'll go to lowercase.
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal scenario, we would probably have a mapping of all the plans in our database, and then we just kind of check on that.
Yeah, there are a bunch of ways that we can do this. I think in this case we're not.
Yeah, we want to add subcolon, right, as a prefix for the role.
Yes, we do. Okay, so now we get our plans, we've got roles, and we need to do what now?
Yeah, so basically now we need to do the other way around. So we need to run against our database to get the Netlify ID.
Okay,
from the Stripe. So we have the Stripe customer ID, and we need to get the Netlify ID. Right. So we're going to look up our map.
So let's look at here. We did it like this. So let's grab all of that. And in this one, we're going to do it the other way around, where we're going to get Stripe ID, and that one's going to bring us back our Netlify ID. We don't actually need the Stripe ID because we have it, so we can do this, and this will be just the Stripe ID. And then I need to include fauna fetch, which I'm going to copy paste. Oh, where was it? Create manage link. Fauna fetch. Handle webhooks. Drop this up here. So now we have our fauna fetch will get us a result. That result is going to include our Netlify ID. So we can just swap this out here.
Yeah, it is a long stream.
I know this one is there's a lot. Like we've got a lot of ground to cover, but we are making we're kind of in the home stretch here, right? Like we're pretty close. So let's
there's a lot we can do, but in terms of like actual sort of end-to-end subscription management, we're fairly close. Yeah.
Okay, so now that I've got this Netlify ID, I need to modify my. I know. Thor, always appreciate you staying up. That's actually why we started this one at 8 a.m. Pacific.
Yeah.
Is because we didn't want Thor up until like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Well, and we wanted to include all of Europe, right? So it's a truly global stream. Yeah, but for my APAC friends, it's quite late. Yeah.
Super late. All right, so now I have a Netlify ID, and what I want to do from there is I feel like I need to get my where is it?
Oh, so we would need to add code.
We're getting there. We're getting there. All right. So the next thing that we're going to need to do is we want to pull in the context, and this is where we start digging into some deep Netlify stuff. So what we're going to get is the context is going to give us back some. We're going to get an identity object out of the context. So out of context, client context. And this is like a direct link to your Netlify identity underlying API. Inside of this, we get a URL and we get an admin token that will allow us to modify the app metadata. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull in node fetch. And I want to update our roles, right? So that's my goal here. I want to update our role to include the new role that we just created. So let's do that by getting a response. And I think I need a new, no, that's okay. We'll get a response, and that is going to be await fetch, and we're going to send a request to the identity URL. That's our API URL. And then we're going to send it to admin/users and pass in the Netlify ID. And that is going to be a put method. We're going to send in headers, and this is where we're going to send in that Netlify admin token that we just got. So this one is bearer, and we're going to use identity.token. And then from here, we're going to pass in the actual app metadata that we want to use. So app metadata, and our roles become role.
Nice.
Ta-da!
Now we have a question in the chat. If it's possible to save the Stripe ID to the app metadata on the Netlify identity. Yes, while that is possible, however, we can't query for that. So really what Fauna gives us is the query capabilities. And yeah, I mean, as you grow your application, you likely have additional things and user details that you want to track. So yeah.
So I'm just going to log this once we get it back. Console log response. Okay. This may not work because I think we might have to deploy it since we're hitting the identity URL.
Gotcha.
So let's try it and see what happens. So we're all set here. And now I'm going to change my plan again. So let's go back to the basic plan. confirm. And that hit cannot read property URL of undefined. Yep, that's because the Netlify identity stuff has to be set up. So that means that we need to get a production webhook from Stripe, and I get that in API keys, right?
Just in webhooks where you are.
It is? Where do I do this?
And then you just say add endpoint.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
However, we don't actually need that for testing. We can actually point the CLI to an internet domain. So it's like a forward to. So we don't actually need to set that up yet. So just our Stripe listen in the Stripe CLI in our terminal, we just point that to our actual Netlify URL.
Ah, okay. I see.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Let's go to here. And
it's really neat for testing because otherwise we would have to update the webhook secret, which would change.
Yeah. Okay. So, and this kept the same, it's the same secret still?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Excellent. That's exciting. Okay. So let me add all. Okay. We're happy. Git commit. Should update roles. And let's push.
Yeah. The Netlify CLI and the Stripe CLI together, it's like so cool.
Oh, it's so nice. Okay, so this should give us, did it not like my push? What's going on? Where's my, hello?
Where did
Text
you push
subscription.
it?
Are we having a lag? Should update roles. Okay, the data's there. Overview. Did you miss my... build version. Refs headmaster.
Maybe we need a corgi stampede or something.
Okay, so it's got our functions going and it is deployed, or at least it should be. Boop.
Boop.
Okay, here we go. I guess we'll find out very...
What happened to the music?
So I think, can y'all hear the Corgi Stampede? Because I've had a weird issue where it like doesn't pipe properly to my headphones, which means that Thor also can't hear it.
Gotcha.
Is something going on with, are you deployed? What is happening? Are we hiccuping right now?
Uploading. Oh.
What are you doing, computer? Why? Why are you like this?
That's how I feel. Let's see. Yeah, if I reload, we're still not updated yet. So I guess we'll. Oh, I do need an adult. I also don't know why I'm a little frustrated about Stream Blitz today. What do you want to try this again, Stream Blitz? You gonna work now?
More caffeine. I probably shouldn't.
Okay. I don't know what to do here because if Netlify is not deploying, we might have to come and finish this with like a short part 2 because we're so close to done. But I don't know why it's not finishing. Let me try one more time. Let me go to this other one and I'll
Should we
cancel
try
it.
setting up a new app?
I feel like that would probably not solve the problem. Like it's typically not related to. It seems like we're just having a it's a global CDN. It's probably just a little bit delayed, but sometimes if I yell at it, it goes faster. Let me check to make sure that we're not having an incident or something.
Yeah, Netlify status is all green. There was something. What time is it? PT. What is PT time at the moment?
10:30.
Okay, so
Yeah, there's no incident.
Well, there was one 15 minutes ago. Is that correct?
Yeah, this one that was some like DNS wildcard certificate stuff, which is not
it looks
related.
all green.
I can do a manual deploy. I guess that'll be a good way to have to look up how to do that though, because I haven't done it in so long. Netlify CLI, here's the command list. I want to deploy, and I think if I just
deploy is fine. Does it pick up the TOML?
No, let's find out. Okay, so that should be up. Here's a deploy preview. I'm going to publish it. All right, and let's try this again.
Maybe it's GitHub.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it might be GitHub. It could be an app thing. I mean, this is one of the challenges when you're coordinating, like, because Netlify is multi-cloud, right? Like, so it's not just on like AWS or Azure or Fastly or whatever. It's like using multiple infrastructure sources around the world, and that's what gives us our high like reliability for not going down. But it also means that there's just a ton of complexity, and figuring out where things are and what to do with them can be challenging. Okay, so let's go here. We've got our plan. Let's change it. I'm going to change to premium. I'm going to confirm. And you're going to work. I believe that today is the day you are going to do the thing that I want you to do on the first try. Oh, it didn't fail, so let's see if it changed my subscription. It did not change my subscription. Okay, so let's check this function and make sure that it's doing what...
It would be neat if this just worked.
It was also supposed to log, so I wonder if it just didn't...
It might have not gone into the if statement, maybe?
Yeah, maybe not. Let's... Well, it also should have... But it should have returned... It would have logged if it had failed. So let's just log...
Did it return received true?
I don't think it logged anything. Maybe it's... Yeah, it's just...
Oh, is our webhook forwarding up and running?
Great question. Invoice created, invoice finalized. Handle webhooks. Okay.
But there was no subscription updated event, is that correct?
Well, I'm not sure. Because I don't know.
If you go to your dashboard,
upgraded to premium.
If you click on that.
That's the one that we just did. That was like, yeah, that was
If you
like 1
scroll
minute ago.
down, can you see if the event was sent? Webhook CLI response. Oh, no recent. Okay, maybe just restart the webhook forwarding and then try again. Maybe there was something fishy there.
Okay. Let's go back in here. We'll change the plan. We'll go to basic, confirm. All right. So let's go back to events. I downgraded. Okay, now it fired.
If you open that up, does it say receive true?
We can certainly find out.
There's a log.
200 okay.
Nice.
Received true. Okay, that's closer.
That's a good sign.
All right. Okay. Sub basic, baby. Woo! We are now managing our subscription. So if we go back to our page and we go here, what's going on now? Why aren't you? Wait, you were literally just
Holy buckets,
correct.
did that just work?
Okay, so am I logged in as the right person? Who am I? I'm 7.
Who am I? Yes. Okay, so something with a refresh token might not be working. Is that correct?
Okay, so we are getting real close here. Let's figure out.
So,
oh,
because it only fires on the init?
Only fires on the init, but it should init when we
reload.
Yeah, when we hit the page. So let's double check. If no user return. Okay. Current user, JWT true. Then we get the token. Then we get the current user. Do I need to... I wonder if this is getting out of sync. Which would be...
Oh, because that is the one on init?
Well, and honestly, we don't even need that user, right? Like, we're not using that current user. We're using the tokens. So instead of doing this, let's... Okay, so here's what we can do. I am going to console log the token.
And see if that has the correct roles.
Yeah, that'll
encode it.
Oh, I have to deploy this, don't I? All right, so let's... Where's my...
Do you have to deploy?
Well, because we've got the... Oh, I guess not, because I have the... I can... So the token is updated, so if I run it locally, we can test this.
I think so.
All right, so let's go out here, and we'll go to our local subscription. Okay, I'm going to refresh, and then... I'm going to grab this. Let's go to the Jot manager. There's our sub. So the problem is that the current user is out of sync.
So maybe that is cached in local storage or something?
It definitely could be. So what we can do to work around that is we can actually just do, let's do their token equals this. And then if we go... I never get this right on the first try. B to A token. Nope. A to B token. What? The string to be decoded is not correctly decoded. Oh, that's because it needs to be broken apart. So if we go with, we'll say parts equals token dot split on the period, because that's how a jot works. And then we want A to B parts, and we want the middle part. And that gives us our actual token. So if I then
JSON
say, we will say their user equals JSON parse. And we'll grab this. Then we can do user dot app metadata dot roles, and there's our sub basic. So
Nice.
that is how we will actually solve this problem. We'll just parse the token straight out. So let's go in here and we'll say, instead of doing this, we're going to
So I guess the current user only gets updated when log in.
that is definitely possible. I am going to look into that.
Cool.
But for now, this is going to do what we need. So we'll say that then our user equals JSON parse, and then the role is going to be actually we need to
Just user.
do current user because we have a user up above.
Gotcha.
This will probably benefit from a lot of refactoring, I think. But now we get our sub basic. So that's what we want.
Nice.
Let's manage our subscription again.
All right.
My guess is that this is not going to work here, so maybe I'll manage it out here.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Let me just deploy it. I want to see it all work together. So let's netlify deploy.
Yes. Show me potato salad. What's the command for that?
Bang potato dash salad. Okay, so that should have worked. It should be live. If I come back out here and I go to this, I'm going to manage my subscription. It is going to take me out here. I'm going to change my plan. I'm going to choose premium. I'm going to confirm. I'm going to go back, and it has updated. I am now a premium subscriber. Yes. Beautiful.
Nice.
Love it. Okay.
And so we can use that token
yes.
to basically protect roots. So if we were to use Gatsby, is that what we would do?
Well, so check this out. So we can actually just do this really, really quickly. I am here. I'm going to say, let's say like get premium content.js. So what I would do is, let's say I've got a handler, and this is going to send me event and context, and I want to check on my stuff. So what I'm going to do if we have the right content is I'm going to send back status code 200,
buckets, did that
and then I would send back body, and the body would be like, this is super secret corgi content, right? So by default, what'll happen is if I go out here, I'm going to stop and let's just run netlify dev, and we're going to say I want. Well, let's just go to it. We'll just go to .netlify functions get premium content. I did it wrong. Oh, I'm not on the local host is why that didn't work. So I need to go back here. Let's go to localhost. Try that again. So here's our super secret corgi content, right? That did what we wanted. So what I want to change is I want to make sure that I have the role before I allow someone to do it. So I can go back into our create manage link, and our user comes out of the client context. So I'm going to get that user. Then I'm going to say if user.appmetadata.roles. How does this work? So with this one, because it's premium, we want to make sure that it's always premium, and we would want to includes sub premium. That comes back true, right? Okay, so we want to just take this and say if the roles include sub premium, and we'll say if it doesn't, then we're going to return status code 401, and the body will be like, you need a premium subscription for Corgi content this good.
You could do status code 402. Do you know what that one means?
I don't.
Yeah, it's funny.
What is
means
it?
Payment required.
Ooh, that's the one we need. Perfect.
Well, it was introduced in the spec fairly early on, but it never actually served any purpose.
That's cool. All right, so then that didn't do what we wanted because what went wrong? Let's check the logs. Error. Cannot read property at metadata of undefined. Oh, that's right, because we need to... Yes. All right. So
we need to send our token in, right?
Yeah. So I basically need to do if there's no user or there's no user dot context. Or wait, I think that might be enough. Let's just try. Yes. So if you're not logged in or you're logged in and your user doesn't have that role, then it's going to send you this authorization message. But now that we are logged in as a premium subscriber, we can send a request. So let's send a request from our homepage. And we'll say down here, let's see, this is getting to be kind of a big old mess, but that's okay. We'll collapse that down and we'll say function get premium content, and premium content is going to fetch and we'll go to netlify functions get premium content. We are going to use the post method, and we're going to send headers including authorization bearer and our token. And what we will get back then is going to be a JSON object. So we will press JSON, and then we will catch any errors with console.error and the error. And let's just do it from here. So we'll get our content back, and we will put our content in a new div that we will call premium. So let's put our content into document.querySelector premium, and then we'll set the inner, we'll use text to content. And actually, I think we're just sending text back, so we can just use text. So I'm going to then call that. We'll just call it straight away. What we would want to do probably is run this like on a page load instead. But that's okay. So we got that. Now I can run this, and it has loaded our content. But if I go out here and I change my plan and I go to the free plan, I'm going to confirm. And I'm going to go back. Why am I still marked as premium?
Maybe the webhook didn't fire.
Does the webhook not fire when you have a...
No, it should. It's just... If you,
let's go look. Events. Downgraded to free from premium.
Yeah, it's just it hasn't sent yet. Yeah, there might be sometimes. So the test webhooks have less priority than the live webhooks. So.
Got it. Okay, so I'm gonna let's just go back out here, and I'll do another upgrade change. So let's go manage the subscription. And I'll change to...
Maybe go to a yearly plan.
Go to a yearly plan.
See if that works.
I've upgraded to a basic yearly plan. It's going to take me to my Corgi subscriptions. There's my sub.
Gotcha.
Okay, so now if I come out here and I reload, now I don't get my content anymore because I don't have an active subscription. So this is like very bare bones in terms of the markup, like the website. But what we just did is we built a full-blown e-commerce app. Like we have login, like we're logging in as a user. Once we log in, we're creating a subscription. That subscription is gating content to, or is gating access to content. So if I change my plan, I'm going to go to premium. I'm going to confirm. And now that I'm here, I'm going to go back. And now I have access to premium content, right? And all of that is being done with a database that's managing our user information. We're using Stripe to handle payments, and we're using Netlify to give us serverless functions. So what that means is that, thank you for the sub, I appreciate it. What this means is that Netlify doesn't cost us anything. The functions are free to deploy. The free tier is pretty generous. You're going to get quite a bit of usage out of them before you need anything. Fauna has a free tier. The free tier is pretty generous. You're going to get quite a bit of usage out of it. And Stripe doesn't charge you to use it. They just charge you a percentage of transactions. So you can now build a completely functional subscription-based website without having to spend any money. The only time that you'll spend money is when somebody pays you. So this is like the best risk-free way to get something up and running online and allow people to pay for your content. I feel like I've just scratched the surface here of like what's actually possible.
I think
there is a free tier for Netlify Identity. You get, like, it's fairly limited what you get for free, but the identity is not okay. Now I'm doubting myself. Let me validate that, because maybe identity does cost some money. Netlify Identity is where? Netlify Identity. Yeah, you get up to 1,000 users. You don't get some of the bonuses, right? So like you don't get custom branding or SSO and stuff, but you can have up to 1,000 users on your plan. So this is like a really, really good way to validate an idea. And the fact that we were able to do this in this is 3 hours, but we just built a full app in 3 hours. That is wild. I can't believe that worked. So yeah, we are way over time. I think we need to start breaking down. But so Thor, what are good next steps for people? So I think the obvious ones are go check out this the Stripe integration portal. Go check out like Netlify Identity. Where is it?
Yeah, I think there was a question in the chat. Does it make sense to save the role in FaunaDB? And I think yes. There's probably a lot more information you want to store in FaunaDB, like is the subscription active? Like what subscription tier are they on? Maybe also store like the subscription plan ID and like the subscription ID itself. Mm-hmm. And for example, even storing like the last four digits of the customer card details if you wanted to show them in their like account profile and things like that. So all of that information is in the billing portal, mm-hmm. Which of course you can use, but you can also customize that. If you don't have don't want to allow a free tier in the beginning, you could use, for example, Stripe Checkout to collect their payment details as they sign up. Mm-hmm. So that's probably something where if we don't have a free tier, we could do that. Alternatively, we could also, because right now we're not actually collecting any payment details mm-hmm. when you sign up, we just allow you to sign up. Yeah, so you could do that. So Stripe Checkout has like a setup mode where you could, just collect the card details, store them on the customer object. And so, yeah, there's definitely a lot more you can do. But I think the gist out of this is like within 3 hours, we have built a system that actually keeps our subscription status in sync with the roles in our database and our identity management. And I think that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Well, and what's cool, so like John Gold in the chat just said that he's been working on something like this for 6 weeks, and he just coded along with us and fixed all of his outstanding issues. So nice. I think that, this really does show the potential for building these apps, getting something out quickly, being able to make some money as a content creator, or to build in e-commerce solutions for your subscriber, or for your clients, for your company, for whatever. It's really, really powerful stuff. And it's something that I would really encourage everybody to try. With that, we are severely over time. It's the middle of the night for you, Thor. I appreciate you staying up.
We're actually on time, aren't we? We had slotted 3 hours for this.
We had slotted 3 hours as like a worst possible case scenario. And okay. It turns out that's what happens. So here we are. With that being said, Thor, thank you so much. Make sure that you go follow Thor. It's thorweb.dev. Is that right?
Thor Web Dev on Twitter.
Yeah. So go check out Thor. Go follow Thor. I can't imagine this is the last we'll see of him. So for now, Thor, thank you so much. We will see you next time.
Thanks for having me.
Chat, as always, thank you so much for coming. Remember, the live captions were done by White Coat Captioning. Captioning is made possible by Fauna and Netlify, who are sponsors of the show. And please check out the schedule. We have so much good stuff coming up. Tomorrow, I have Ryan Warner coming on the show, and he is going to help us learn about Figma from the perspective of developers. I've also got some really fun stuff coming up next week. So next week on Tuesday, Charlie Gerard is going to come on, and we're going to do mind-controlled apps. It is going to be incredible. We're going to play with some neurotech and JavaScript and all sorts of fun stuff. It's going to be unbelievable. We're also going to have Dr. Gleb Damutov on the show. He's from Cyprus, and we are going to set up end-to-end testing with Cyprus. Tamaz, I don't know if you're still on, but Tamaz loves Cyprus, and I think this is going to be a really, really fun show. Gleb is brilliant, and so this is going to be a whole lot of fun. So please set your calendars. Make sure that you subscribe to the show. Follow if you want. Get some updates. Go to learnwithjason.dev, and you can add the show to your calendar so that you'll get notified when things are true. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and I will raid another channel. We'll see you next time.